video. So I've done a lot of stealth camper builds, at the beginning of this channel. I was all about that life, right? And now we have Facebook Marketplace. I've deemed it efficient enough to be able to find a car that if you need one. So today I am actually going to be doing a city stealth camper. Now if you don't know what stealth camping is, let's say you don't have a house and you need a car to live out of, or you live in the city, rent can be expensive, or you like to go overlanding in cities. Well, essentially, overlanding, any instance where you would need to sleep in your car, you're probably going to need something spacious, something fuel efficient, and something pretty good, right? So there are multiple different types. Like you have overlanding, which is, again, requires you to sleep in your car because you're driving very, very far away distances to very, very beautiful locations, and you probably want to stay there for a bit if you just spent so many days, driving there. So a city car has some unique characteristics that it needs to have, right? It needs to be durable. It cannot be too expensive, that way in case it gets dinged or bumped or damaged, you don't want to care about it. They made it for a decent amount of time. It was overall a very, very, very good vehicle. So I would think that this would be amazing. It has mismatched hubcaps. We'll definitely need to get some better ones. It was very well taken care of. 106,000 miles. This is a Corolla, essentially, the Toyota Corolla Matrix. The XR was a pretty good trim level. So overall, I think that would be our first contender. So we have our 2006 Toyota Matrix wagon. Perfect. So we have our first option down. We found our Matrix. Or is the Matrix S more our style? Something more sporty? I don't really think it's worth it to bump up to the S because we're just going to be damaging it and dinging it and messing with it. So, I don't really think it's worth it to go to the S, considering this is $6,000 and that's $5,000. Although it may be nice for the leather upholstery, but I don't really think we're going to care about that. So the next car on my list is actually a Suzuki. People often don't hear about Suzuki. For one simple reason, they didn't make them a very long time, and the cars that they did make weren't, great. So, that's the main reason. So this Suzuki SX4 is kind of what I'm looking for, right? So this is a manual transmission, and you can see it's just a very good, very decent little nugget, right? So I know I did a video on nuggets, and a lot of people are like, why wasn't the Yaris in there? Well, by nugget, I mean like a modern day nugget. That's what I meant by not gone, just different. They don't really make the small little like Fiat 124s anymore. They mainly just make small hatchbacks, which I consider to be nuggets in my nugget qualifications. So this is another manual transmission. This one's blue. I actually really like this one. I think this one could definitely be a contender. I would like to have some more photos because, that's important. SX4, please read description. Yeah, no, thanks. 2012 Suzuki SX4 Sportback, hatchback. That actually doesn't look too bad. I think this might be our car. Yep. That's enough photos for me. I mean, it's definitely going to need some to be cleaned, but other than that, I think that's a pretty good, looks okay-ish taken care of, although I really do think I will go with the blue one, just because it looks more taken care of, in my opinion, than the other one. But actually, the earlier generations were very short and stout. That's especially what we're looking for, like this generation. There we go, 2.5i. Pretty good. $2,000. Looks well taken care of. Stock wheel covers. Looks pretty well maintained. I mean, that would be a great vehicle. I really think that could really do it. Let's see if we can get an Impreza Outback, because I know those were much, much, much nicer and much better in quality. So it looks like we only have one real choice here. That's great. Honestly, I mean, it looks very taken care of. It only has 58,000 miles, which is amazing for one of these cars. Whew. Wow, that is an amazing option. It's a little bit more expensive, right? But I think that expensiveness is kind of worth it, right? So we have the Toyota Matrix XR Wagon from 2006 for $5,000. We have the 2012 Suzuki SX4 Hatchback for $3,000, the cheapest and the newest, and then the 2010 Subaru Impreza Outback Sport. So, the 2006 Toyota Matrix XR Wagon has 106,000 miles, this one has 189, and this one only has 58. So, because, it's going to be a city car and we don't really want high mileage, I think I'm going to discontinue, I think I'm going to get rid of the Matrix just because I think it's too high mileage and it's too old. This one is newer, but it's, extremely old. Look at it. It is, it's driven 189,000 miles, and for a Suzuki, it's on its deathbed. I honestly think this 2010 Subaru Impreza Outback Sport is going to be our thing. So this is the car I have officially chosen to be our city car. So, really quickly, also, there are a lot of Suzuki people, more than you think there would, and I totally understand it. Their cars were stellar. Are going to say, well, the Suzuki has a lot of life left in it. No doubt there. I just think that the Subaru, having driven 1/4 the miles as the Suzuki, is going to last just a little tiny bit, a lot longer. You know what I mean? So, now it's time for modifications. So, just glancing at the outside, it looks like they've done everything that needs done. So, all we have to do is make this livable. Now, this was the most expensive, which means we only have about, I don't know, so let's look at the interior, right? We're going to be driving for an extremely long time, and in the city, no less. I think a new radio is in order. Just because, I think that these fit a lot better. They work better in the interior, and if you're going to be driving a long time, you're going to need Android, you're going to need some things, right? So we're definitely going to add that to the cart. So a sad part about this versus a Prius, if you leave it in ready mode, you can keep the air conditioning mode on, you can keep everything on. This, not so much, right? So let's first get some power. Just get some Blue Tea. I really like Blue Tea just because they're usually really, really affordable, right? Which is not bad at all. And they usually, they're very good systems. I really do rate them. I've had a few in the past. Not a single one has ever given up on me. They're very reliable. I think they're really good. So let's get one. I don't want something that's overkill. Maybe this portable power station? Nope. Because we need solar on top of that, right? No, I think it's fine if you go with a smaller solar station, but, we're going to have some stuff to plug in. So this one looks pretty good. It's a little bit small for the system, only two outputs. I definitely think we should go for the bigger $2,000 one, just because, it has so many more ports. I really think that's going to be important. It also has a bigger solar panel. So if you're not familiar with what we're going to do here, we're essentially going to take that solar panel and glue it to the roof, right? So you see that roof there? We're just going to take the solar panel and smush it on there, right? That way we can have solar coming into the car. We can even put it on top of the roof racks for non-existent aerodynamics. It's just to give us some energy to play around with, maybe a heated bed or whatever, whatever we need, right? Now, like I said, the Prius has the ability to run its air conditioning when, it's because the engine's not always running, so you're not wasting gasoline and you won't be stranded. Mini AC unit, these things don't work. They're just evaporative coolers. We're really going to need a true air conditioning unit, which is going to be real painful just because they're so expensive, well, not just the expense, it's just because they need so much space, for a full air conditioning unit. Why don't we just do a fan? Now, I get it. It's going to be hot, but we can, if it gets too hot, we can always go in somewhere or do something like that, so I think we should be okay. I want to get, something that can air condition the entire car, which, any table fan could, considering the size of the room we needed to air condition is literally none. So Durio is a pretty good brand, has the same remote as my heater, just a very nice fan. It oscillates, which means it can kind of, go across the entire car and cool it off, so that's what I'm going to do. Why don't we go to Durio for for an electric heater? Because I feel like we're also going to need one. If it's cold, you need a heater. If it's hot, you need water. You know what I mean? Air conditioning is necessary for it to not be, too hot, but you know what I'm trying to say. So, tower fan, pedestal fan, air circulator, we want them heater, space heater. There we go. Space heater. There we go. That one. See buying options. Ugh. There we go, 39. That's not bad at all, actually. So we have a heater. We are now temperature controlled officially, as I said. So now we're going to need a mini fridge. I want something reliable because, if it sparks, then we're done. And we want something spacious. So I think this Upstream model, Upsterman, I don't know. See, fridges, if they're made cheaply, they can spark, just what microwaves are good? What brands are people buying? I think this Toshiba should be nice. I know Toshiba makes good, tech stuff, but I don't know about their appliances, $200, which is very, very pricey, but I feel like when everything's coming out of a microwave, you shouldn't have, the worst microwave in history, right? So this is already a lot of stuff to cram into this tiny little car. So we're going to take the seats out. We can put everything over here. Now we need some sort of bed. I have no idea how to spell anything. Blankets. I feel like we're definitely going to need some blankets because, yeah, definitely. Bed shore. Again, we're going to have to make sure that we, have the appropriate distance from the space heater from everything else since it is such a small car. There we go. So we've got that added to our cart. We're already up to $3,000 and we're doing pretty well. Now we're going to need some pillows. I always go with Serta just because they're the best. I'm sorry. Serta's really, really good. Won't go flat, standard queen. That's pretty good. 2 pillows is pretty necessary. That's pretty good. Now, I always incorporate tech into these builds just because I feel like, if you don't really have that much to live off of and you're living out of a car, you probably don't have that much tech either. So I always incorporate technology into the build. So today, I'm going to go for an iPhone. Yeah. I think the standard 7's fine. Not that bad. 32 gigabytes, that's pretty good. Black, that's fine. Just a generic cell phone. This one will do pretty much everything you need it to do. And whatever this can't do, we can get you a laptop. So let's get you a MacBook. MacBooks are importante, just because they can do a lot of stuff that the iPhone can't, yada, yada, yada. Something cheap like this, like the 2017 MacBook Air. 8 gigabytes RAM, 120 gigabyte SSD storage. Pretty good, although I think for $390 already, $200. I think if you go just $200 more, you could get better value for a much better device. So we have an iPhone, a MacBook. That's pretty much the MacBook can be used for television, whatever we need for entertainment. That's pretty much all we really need. Now, it has aftermarket wheels. Now, you know me. I hate aftermarket anything when I'm buying a car because I don't know if they've done it right. One of my friend's cars, like I said before, they bought, I forgot what car it was. They bought a car, and someone did an aftermarket subwoofer in the back, and the car just absolutely burnt down because the wiring sparked because they didn't do it right. So it's always important to make sure that the wiring is done right if any aftermarket crap if anyone has touched your car. I'm a little bit leery of even aftermarket radios, just because you have absolutely no idea. Did Uncle Ted come out with some electrical tape and just twist the wires together and just put tape around it, or did they use the wiring code, but wheels? First of all, I think, a lot of times, I think aftermarket wheels look very tacky. The original wheels look very tacky, but they also match the car, right? Aftermarket wheels a lot of times can be so unbelievably ugly and tacky on a car. But I think the dark headlights with the dark wheels and the grille, I think it all kind of works together. I actually really like these aftermarket wheels. Taste is subjective, but I think they go really well with this car. And they're not impeding on ground clearance too much. Why do people fuss with the wheels? Why do they, toe in, toe out, camber? Why? It's a car, not... Just don't touch it. It's and it doesn't make the car look better. It just wears your tires down in a more weird and less efficient way. And it doesn't make the car look cool. It just makes it look like it's squatting, which doesn't... Ugh. And squatted trucks, that's stupid. I think... I'm not a car modification guy. I'm more I'll buy the car that has the specs that I want it to in terms of horsepower. I'm also a very, utilitarian person, right? I would be satisfied with the 2010 Subaru Impreza, completely stock with all these modifications, just because I don't need the power, on the freeway, me and the LaFerrari are still going the same speed, unless he's speeding, which I probably will be too. Yeah, as long as it can go highway speeds, fast enough for me, and something like the Prius, it gets great gas mileage. A lot of car companies, I feel, have gotten super unreliable and super out of the price range of most consumer buyers, just chasing performance, which is something that the average buyer, I don't know about you, but I would much rather have an affordable car that's dependable and reliable, that's slow, than have a super fast thing that's just going to explode and burn up in 5 minutes, you know? So with that, I think we've spent $3,000, almost $4,000, and $11,000. That comes out to a $5,000 budget. Now, as always, I usually left some wiggle room. Today, we are razor thin just because of, well, the budget and, well, Facebook Marketplace. Now, I know if we went with one of those other cars, it would have been cheaper. But I really do think that the Subaru, just splitting for that little amount, was was very worth it, you know, in terms of reliability and dependability and how long it will last. So with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon.